This is a kitchen dresser, they call it, about 1750, 18th century, and it has a back panel that is tongue and groove, and it also has a door front that is tongue and groove. It also has a bead on the front face of these tongue and groove joints. So there are three pieces making up that door, and I want to show how I go about making that in SketchUp. I'm doing that in the shop right now with the Monterey pine. I'll pull the door out of the assembly, and you can see that it is also a batten door. It has two horizontal battens that accommodate wood movement. They're little slots for the screws, and nothing will be glued here. It needs to allow for movement of the wood cross grain. Now, how would I go about making this door component? The best thing is to use the opening that the door will fit in, and I'll use the rectangle tool to create a face that matches up with the exact opening there. And temporarily I'll make this a group and give it some, I want to give it some thickness here equal to what it will be. Just match it up with the face out here with a push-pull tool. Okay, so we've got a template then for the door, and the door will be three pieces, three equal width pieces, each with the tongue and groove joint. So here is this rectangular group, and I'm going to edit it, clicking on the top edge and dividing that edge into three equal parts, and bring a line down at each of these breakpoints then for the three equal sized slats. Okay, and I want to make sure there's some air space for door movement, and I'm going to back that right edge 1/16 inch. Just give me an air gap of 1/16 inch on both ends of the door. That'll give a little bit of allowance for movement in weather. And the other thing I'll do is use the control key and push-pull that face back, giving then the edges that I need in the back. Now I've got three equal sized pieces here, and let me just go ahead and delete this right piece, because I don't need that right piece. I'm going to make an end slat and that end slat will be duplicated on both ends, so I don't need that part. And I'm going to make this left hand piece a component now. This will be the end slat for the door. And I can reverse faces there. Okay, now we need the bead, and it's a 1/4 inch bead with a little bit of a 1/16 inch quirk. So the radius here, I want to come out with a guideline just 1/8 of an inch from the front edge. And there's a 1/4 inch for the bead, and then a 1/16 inch for the little quirk. And use the arc tool to create the bead shape. 1/4 inch bead. And then draw the little quirk here. 1/16 inch. Okay, let me get rid of these guidelines and run that bead all the way down the front edge with a push-pull tool. There'll be, I gotta make 2 swipes here. There's 1/2 and the other little face. Double click on that and smooth out that edge that's showing there. So we have the bead. Now I need the tongue for the tongue and groove joint. And this is 1 inch thick door, so I'll put a center line at a 1/2 inch, and I would like to have a tongue that is 5/16 inch wide, so I'm coming off 5/32 with the guidelines. And drawing a 3/8 inch long tenon or tongue. Again, with the push-pull tool, I can double click, I think. Let me double click on that. Let me check it with X-ray. Yes, it went all the way down. And I want to get rid of these guidelines. So that component, which is the end slat, is done. I can copy it over. Oops. Control. Copy it over on the red axis. Flip along red. And bring it back to the blank middle piece here. Okay, I'm ready to work on this middle section now. And currently that's not a component in the middle, so I need to make that a component. Let me back off here and select that whole thing, and this is the mid slat door. And I don't need a bead on this piece but I do need the groove. And I can use the tongue to create the outline of the groove. Push pull, and I should be able to double click and do that same operation at that end. Push pull, double click. And that should, there's probably some cleanup here. I better check and see what kind of cleanup I need to do. Pull these apart maybe. And oh, first I am going to do a 16th inch move to create a little gap here, again for wood movement. So now I've lessened the width of the end slat, and I've got a 16th at each joint now of airspace for movement. Now let's go back to some of the cleanup here. I brought a copy out, and I can see an edge that I can remove. That edge will also be on the bottom face. Let's bring out the middle component. Yes, and there's an extra edge on that tongue, which I can erase one click. Faces are reversed, so let me fix that. Yes, over here as well. Now, what else do I have to do here? Lots of things back here. I need a back face. I'm just going to trace over one edge, and that completes that. And then on the middle slat, I've got a reverse face. Okay, so the last thing that needs to be done is to create these battens that are chamfered and have little rectangular slots for screws. That will allow some wood movement, as I've talked about several times. So that completes the door assembly.